Wow, that was a great show that Nolly and I just did. We broke down some great games. We hopefully gave you some good information and found some good numbers for you to get on, cash. And of course, if you want to watch the full show, all you got to do is click on the link below. So we'll start off with a 5 o'clock Eastern game, a nice sun going down, walk your dog, pick up his poo type of day. And we got VCU and we got Dayton in the A10. VCU opened up as a 1.5 point favorite. Right now, I'm seeing them at 1.5, and I see a 2 across the board right now with a total at 132.5 and one very lonely 133. So with VCU and Dayton, these are two very interesting A10 teams. We've seen VCU be very stout when it comes to their win-loss record and whether it be winning it on the road or not. But when it comes to covering spreads, they have not really done an adequate job. And when we talk about Dayton, well, Dayton, they've been pretty good, even though they've been missing Rodney Chapman. They've been getting some good service in the front court from my fellow Canadian Jordy Tishmanga, and they've also been getting some unexpected production from new recruit and new entry into the lineup, Mustafa Amzil from Finland. So I think that this Dayton team definitely has made some improvements when it comes to development of the roster. But in this game, this is a VCU spot for me. I would have had VCU probably at around 3 points. So there is still a little bit of value at 1.5 for me with VCU. With VCU, they've definitely been a little bit troublesome early on in games. I've seen them fall behind in numerous spots, but they are a very stout defensive team that prides themselves on ball defending, takeaways, and good defensive rebounding, with Bones Highland being your game-breaking scorer. I've seen them come back from deficits as large as 12 points versus St. Joe's. So with VCU, the one thing that I think hopefully can carry over in this game against Dayton is going to be the continued production of Levi Stockard. Levi, he's really believing in himself these days, and the coaches have done a fantastic job of inspiring him in that way. What he needs to do is he needs to be that fourth offensive option and a different level scorer than Bones Highland or Vince Williams or Ace Baldwin, the point guard freshman. I think that with VCU, this is a young team that's coming together. They don't have the excuse of being young anymore. It's time for them to man up, and they've done a good job on the road. They win with defense. They're road warriors. Takeaways are going to be key, and balanced scoring. If Bones Highland's got to be the guy that puts in 28 points and leads you, and you don't have any other double-digit scores, you could be in trouble. You're going to have to contain the aforementioned Amzil and Jordy Tishmanga. These are guys that have big size. They can operate on the low block. They have the ability to stretch it out to the 3-point line. So you're going to have to guard them. But the bottom line is, if you can't limit and stop Jalen Crutcher, you cannot beat this Dayton team, especially at home with the Anthony Grant style defense they play. I do think by my numbers, VCU does have a field goal defensive advantage on a possession-to-possession basis. I think that if you let Bones shoot threes, that's the guy you want. You want everybody else staying off and trying to go close to the bucket. If this VCU defense can force 7 more turnovers in this game like they have been doing in conference and get their 7 to 10 takeaways a game, I think that they're going to win this game. I think that it doesn't really matter that they're going on the road. I think that this is a building that they've won in before. They have an advantage at the free throw line. They have an advantage when it comes to the offensive glass. And I think that those two factors will lead to a victory for VCU. So I'm going to take them minus 1.5. And when it comes to the juice, I see that the best line that I can get is minus 108. So Noli, if you can give me VCU -1.5 at -108. I'll make that my first show pick, and I'll pass it off to you because this is one of the games that you and I are overlapping on.
You know what? I'm over here searching. I'm searching and searching. The one thing that I will say is that the 110 is available across the board. I mean, the -1.5, -110 available across the board. 108 is one thing that I cannot find unless you're finding it somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now at PointsBet.
Points bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a legal American book. We on this show, so what happens is we have to use only American legal books on the show as far as line shopping for me. And when it comes to the books that we're allowed Rivers, we're allowed PointsBet, we're allowed FanDuel, DraftKings, Circa, BetMGM, FoxBet. So there is definitely a variety of books that we can find the lines for, but we don't want to be here all day line shopping. So on this one, Nolly and I were able to team up, and on the rest of the games, I will be allowing Nolly to hunt for the best lines. So he better be doing so.
Okay, but I mean the totals is always pretty fair. So that, but anyways, yeah, going right back into it. Like Max said, I'm also on this game. Very interesting between these two teams. They've already had a previous matchup earlier in the year in which VCU was able to completely dominate Dayton. They held Dayton to just 13 first half points. It was a 33-13 lead. Virginia Commonwealth ends up just completely blowing them out the water, 66-43. But ultimately, when I look at that game, you look at the poor shooting performance by Dayton, shooting just 30% from field goal range, 15% from the 3-point land. And that's something that you've seen out of Virginia Commonwealth. They've been holding their opponents under 30% from the 3-point land all year, just giving up 64.9 points per game. Same thing on the other side for Dayton. Dayton has been a great defensive team, giving up just 65.1 points per game. And most impressively, when I look at these stats, Virginia Commonwealth, 11 unders to just 6 overs. So it gives me a good indication that these line makers haven't had a good read on their totals throughout the season. And I think they made another mistake here when I look at the total. I've talked about the great defenses and what we see out of VCU and Dayton. But on the offensive side for Dayton, one thing that I love to see when a team has a great defense is a very slow pace. And when you talk about Dayton, one of the slowest in the nation, they're 313th in the nation with just 68.1 possessions per game. They're 342nd in the nation with just 50.7 field goal attempts per game. And basically, I've just betting the probability of them scoring. The less attempts you make, the less chances of you making points. You know, that's just the way it goes. On the other side for VCU, on the season, they average a little bit higher, 74.3 possessions per game. But we talked about it on the last show. This is February basketball. Things are changing quite a bit now at this time of year. Everybody's trying to do what they can to try to make this tournament. They don't know when their last game might be. This might be their last game. They get hit with COVID, it's their last game. So they've got to show out each and every game. And that's what you've seen a lot of these teams kind of turn the switch. VCU, I mean, they've been playing well all year, but what you've seen out of the last 3 games, just 68 possessions per game. Once again, that's good for 313th in the nation. You know, so they've slowed the pace tremendously. And I just think when I look at 11-6 to the under and the way at these slow pace from Dayton, the only way that I'm looking at this game is going to be under the total. Under is what I've been riding with VCU quite a bit, and Dayton with their slow pace and their ability to defend, inability to shoot the 3. I like the under. I'm seeing around 132.5. That's where I'm at right now.
All right. Well, let me see if I can do better for you right now. I am seeing 132.5, 132.5. All right, I found you a better line, my friend. I found you under 133 at Fox Bet -110.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I like that quite a bit.
All right. So in addition to your bet, Noli, I'm actually going to make a surprise addition onto this game, and I'm going to take the under 130.5 at plus 115 on Bet365. So I'm going to take an additional total, going to take care of that juice, and hopefully put extra 15 shekels in my pocket.
Oh,
So
I
lock
like it.
in on that.
Yeah, definitely. I like it. Those are different ways to look at the games. Not all books will offer that, but if you can find a book that does that, you get some confidence in these games, shade a point or two off, and get some plus money. It goes a long way when we're talking about over the course of a season. You're betting 3-4 games a day. It adds up quite a bit. You're going to be well over 300 at the end of the season. So every little bit counts.